AskReddit by deleted. What has your pet accidentally conditioned you to do? Change the water in her bowl. It can be all the way to the top and she'll stand there staring at it until I take the bowl, dump it, and refill it with fresh water. My dog is a water connoisseur now. He will leave full bowls untouched and look at me for cold water from the water filter with a nice whiskey ball in it. I open the tin foil as quietly as possible. My cat loves tin foil balls, and whenever he hears it he runs over and looks at it longingly, despite him having at least 24 tin foil balls already. You can't call him with a treat bag or tin, he only comes for the foil. Check the mail every day. He's so excited to walk to the mailbox with me it reminds me to actually do it. This just reminded me to check my mailbox, thanks stranger. Sleep with my legs a cat length apart. She likes to sleep in between them. Same here. I've noticed I'm much more awake aware when I shift positions now, too, so I'm sure not to kick or squish her. Before I run in the morning I usually scarf down a banana. Ever since we got my sweet dog, I scarf down about 2/3 of my banana and he gets the last part. It's become our little thing, an unspoken agreement. The banana tax. It happens at my house too. Weaving his name into any song I can for no reason whatsoever. I was riding around with my dog the other day and Motley Crue's Girls came on the radio, but he likes it better if I sing it as squirrels. To press on my bladder to wake me up early so they could eat early. Living lots of food by night didn't solve it. You could try an automatic feeder. I mean, unless you enjoy the ritual. 2 things. My dog Rusty always puts his front paws on me and I always hugged him, so now when he's anxious he'll give me a hug and I'll hug him back. The other one is when I get ice he always begs for one, so now without thinking I always toss him an ice cube. Edit. Thank you all for the awards. I'd assume you'd all like to know the good boy is sleeping on my chest right now, and yes, he did get an ice cube before bed. Oh, I used to do this too. I'd reach in and get the ice for my drink and just throw one over my shoulder without looking because I knew my dog was gonna catch it. I lost her earlier this year and had to drop the habit after throwing ice on my kitchen floor several times. Edit. My first Reddit awards went to my dog, rightfully, thanks on her behalf. Here's my baby angel. https://imgur.com/a/a9wtpqo close bracket comma for who asked. My girlfriend's older cat makes me pick her up to drink running tap water from her bathroom sink. I also gotta pick her up to get on the dryer to eat, even though she can easily make the jump. My cat often does this. His food is in his cat tree so the dog can't get to it. And sometimes he'll stare at me in the tree and meow loudly till I lift him. Other times he just jumps up and eats. Run towards the door when they start dry heaving. The sound of a pet or baby about to vomit needs to be an alarm. Instant wake up. I have a cat that plays fetch, very insistently. She brings me her toy mouse, and if I don't throw it for her, she sits on my laptop keyboard. Of course this all started when I would throw the mouse to keep her from sitting on my laptop. My cat does that too. He broke the feather part off his string toy and he'll drop it on my face while I sleep if he wants to play lol. My mother's dog tells her when it's time for her evening meal. As in my mother's evening meal. The dog knows she eats after my mother, so when she starts to get peckish she goes and bugs her to start cooking. When I go back to visit, we'll be sitting chatting and the dog will sidle in and become a presence in the room for maybe 30 seconds until my mother casually looks at her watch and says, I suppose we better think about eating. She's completely unaware of what triggers her decision. A presence in the room, I love it, haha. I know exactly what you mean, too. Dogs have a way of sort of just conspicuously hanging around to get some attention. Loitering, if you will. My cattle dog knows if he coughs on my face in the morning, I will get up and wash it. Then now I guess I am just up. Also, for one cat I leave the toilet seat up so she can pee. Otherwise she will go down the sink and that feels wrong. Toilet cats are the best. Yell floor food whenever I'm cooking and I drop something. Or go crunch 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 when I'm chopping veggies, so my dog knows I have extras for her. My dog would sit outside the kitchen with his back straight just waiting for me to drop some food. He knew he wasn't allowed in the kitchen unless I told him to. It was a small kitchen and I didn't want to trip over him to have him get hurt. As soon as I dropped something, I'd either just point to it or say go and he would run in, pick it up and sit outside the kitchen again like a tennis ball boy. It sucks every time I cook now and I have scraps but no good boy to feed it to. One of my dogs has several barks, a play bark and a squirrel bark and other dog things that are normal dog barks. He also had what we call his emergency bark. The emergency bark is what he does when he thinks there is serious danger. It is extremely loud and makes us jump every time. He usually reserves it for things like the time I fell down the stairs and he scream barked for my husband to help, or when someone is in our front yard, or when he cornered a possum in the backyard. However, since my husband started working from home, this dog barks his emergency bark at my husband if he tries working past 4 PM. My husband now has learned to stop working at about 3:50 every day to avoid that jarring sound. Work-life balance, Dad. Sleep on my back or front. I used to be a side sleeper but have an elderly cat who loves her human bed. One of my tabby babbies likes to know when I'm rolling over in bed so she can readjust herself. So no, in the middle of the night I'll quietly say rolling over Koosie baby. She loves her human bed no matter how I sleep. When I come home, my dog comes to the door all excited, wagging her tail, making this woo wow wow sound. It's not quite howling, but it's not barking either. I started to woo wow wow back to her, because it amused me, but now if I don't, the sound she makes will turn into barking, which is very noisy and unpleasant. So basically she's trained me to have this dumb woo 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 conversation with her, in order to keep her from yelling at me. Edit because lots of people are asking, she's a Portuguese water dog. My dog does this and has learned that I love the woo oh 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 so much that I will give him whatever he is asking for if he does it back and forth a couple times with me. Dinner is around 6 every night. The woos start at 5:30. I could trust this without checking the clock, until a few weeks ago. He tricked me into serving him dinner absent-mindedly. I realized after feeding him that it was barely 4 PM. Sneaky little rascal. Shuffle my feet instead of walking when it's dark so I don't step on my small, black cat. Lol, when I turn the lights off my cat instantly starts running from me because of this. I had fish on top of this cabinet, not sure if that's the right word, so I would always be really careful when closing it so it doesn't disturb them. I haven't had fish or any other pet in 5 years but I still do it. I do this too. When I get up to go to the bathroom I stand in the door and wait for my elderly cat to come in before I close the door. He likes to keep me company. If he doesn't come in right away I'll call for him and if still nothing I'll start walking around the house looking for him. My kitten has taught me this new trick. If I'm using the toilet or having a shower, I have to call her in. With my Finn and K, she runs from any part of the house to watch him pee. She's quickly received the nickname toilet attendant. My husky does this sneezing thing when she's anxious and I imitate her every time she does it. Usually causes follow-up sneezes. I also know right when she's about to groan when she's anxious annoyed and if I make the noise before she does she won't do it. That's so funny. AWW dogs are the darndest. My cat sleeps under the blanket snuggled up to me. Even when I'm at a hotel I instinctively raise the blanket a bit so he can crawl in. Edit. Here's my baby boy snuggling me. https:// imgur.com/a/vrsun. One of my cats like to climb under the covers, but only when he's feeling cold. Most of the time it's nice, but sometimes he doesn't ask until after I'm asleep or just drifting off, and he asks by poking at me under the blanket, so I'm suddenly jolted awake by his pokey claws. My wife just got out of the cat's chair on our front porch after he strolled up and meowed. Crazy thing is, it's not our cat. This is the best one so far. Very succinct. My parents' cat prefers to drink water directly from the tap before. Every night before bed he'll hop onto their sink and meow until someone turns on the tap for him. Then when he's done he'll meow again until someone turns off the tap and carries him to bed. Everything her little heart desires. BC I am an idiot sucker and she knows it. You are their whole life, so might as well give them the most happiness you can. Deleted. My cat likes to have the door open when I'm pooping so she can sit in front of me asking for pets and then lie at my feet. I read somewhere that pets are trying to guard you and keep you company while pooping. It's adorable. Save the last part of everything I eat for him. That and tossing bits of food on the floor. I actually found myself, a grown-ass adult, throwing a piece of turkey on the floor of my office because I am so used to having 2 dogs under my feet at all times. Thankfully I realized what I'd done quickly and cleaned it up, but my co-workers probably thought I lost my mind for a minute. Deleted. Okay, but terrifying to think your cat could get stuck in an oven and you might not know. Leave space next to my pillow for him to cuddle next to. Though often both cats wanna sleep there and I have what I call my cat hat to sleep in. Panic when the door opens. My dogs are runners. She's a tracker. So whenever she needs something she'll just walk me to it. So now whenever she looks at me and paws at my foot, I just follow her. It's just a reflex at this point. When I'm having dinner, my cat would jump on the table and look at me with squinting eyes until I feed him. I try to resist, but his eyes squint so hard it's as though he's about to fall asleep. Too cute not to give him a little bit of my food. Just a little, as a treat. Yell her name when she barks. It's just automatic now. Is her name Bark? Because that would be convenient. Pick up the turds which just periodically fall out of his asshole for no apparent reason, and also pay $400 to have the vet stick a finger up there when it gets clogged up once or twice every year. When it comes to pooping, my cat is all or nothing. For some reason the way you wrote this made me giggle solidly for a full minute. My cat is lying on me and the very obvious utter disgust in his face at my stomach and rib cage shaking violently below him nearly killed me. Thank you. Lift the covers in my sleep so he can crawl in. He aggressively headbutts until he gets his way, so now I just do it to avoid a mean bonk to the face with a hard furry skull in the night. My dog likes to sleep under the bed covers. If she wants to get under she will come and nudge me gently, and no matter how asleep I am I'll lift the covers with my legs so she can get in. She will look toward the kitchen and then back at me with a smile. Then she gives a little wag and looks at the kitchen and back at me with that cute smile. She's telling me she wants a treat. My dog Yuri has conditioned me into being his pillow at night. At first I would immediately push him off when he tried, but eventually he learned how to rest his head on my chest little by little, so I didn't notice. Now I basically just let him do it, lol. I used to live next door to my grandmother, so when I would call, it was usually to make sure her back door was open and my dog could run over for a visit. We now live farther away, but every time he hears her voice on the phone he gets all excited and runs to stand by the front door waiting to go see her. In the mornings my GSD will not, at all, go outside to do his business until I give him his joint vitamin. He's gone through the doggy door and turned right back inside a few times. German Shepherds are so smart. Mine doesn't live with me anymore, but I swear he understood when I was talking to him. Or if he didn't understand, he would kinda cock his head. One time I was watching a video on my phone of a kitten crying, and once he heard, he jumped up and started looking around. I played it again and he barked once, looked at me, then started trotting around the house. Finally I turned my phone around and showed him the video, and he looked at it for a moment, then went and laid back down. It was wild. My cat Kevin loves to drink water out of the sink. So every morning when I get up, I fill up the bathroom sink with an inch or two of water. He also loves to bat things into the sink, so I grab a couple of Q-tips and set them next to the edge so he has something to scooch in there. My cat, for whatever reason, likes to play hockey with ice cubes. So whenever I get ice for my drink, I instinctively put a cube in his water bowl. Somehow the subsequent wet socks always surprise me. My dad used to drop ice cubes into the cat's water whenever they fell on the floor so that they couldn't go to waste. After a while, one of the cats would refuse to drink her water without ice and would bug my dad until he put fresh ice in her water. She went like 16 years without ice water, but once she decided that she liked it, that was the rule, Mio. She was a queen. I've shared this before, but I got my dog Snoopy when I was 10 years, and ever since he was a puppy he had this weird love for lettuce. He would go absolutely nuts for it, so whenever I had a sandwich or a burger, I would give him some of my lettuce. Over the years it became a ritual that whenever I prepared any food for myself that involved lettuce, I would grab some extra lettuce for him, so I could toss it to him as I ate. He passed away 5 years ago after nearly 17 years together, but I still find myself grabbing that bit of extra lettuce for him. It's kind of funny that his little quirk has still stuck with me for all these years, and I honestly never wanted to go it away, because it's a little way for me to remember him. That's just the sweetest, saddest thing. Deleted. Walk out the front door backwards while simultaneously closing it. We got one cat that tries to escape, while the other two are fine with their large 100m2 backyard with a net all over it. When I come home from work, I yell out for him, so he can come up to me, and I pick him up to give him kisses. Unconditionally love them. There must always be a space for my cat whenever I sit down on the couch so she can cuddle up next to me. Any obstacle will be knocked and or scratched out the way so she can take her place at my side. Leave pillows laying next to the tile. He likes to lay on the tile because it cools him down, but he doesn't like his head to touch the floor. I've somehow become a cat treat dispenser for them. Yay, 4 thumbs, I guess. They both come next to me, keep staring until they get a treat. Or the boy sometimes keeps talking and gives me a massage until he gets his treats. The girl also is all flirty when she wants temptations, until she gets them. Candidaga.